She is a therapist. We're going nuts. We're live. We are.
Oh, we're live now?
We are live. We are going live right now.
There you go.
Yes.
Surprise.
Come on, announcer vibes.
Yes.
I am not your lovely host. I'm Greg.
Yes.
We're going around
Admirable.
the table. We got Rachel is our guest today. She is a therapist. We have some.
Yes.
We have some conflicts with as far as like specifics, as far as like where exactly she works. So for this conversation, we're going to keep it at a therapist. We also have Anders over there in the blue corner.
Yes. Hello.
In the blue
Hello.
corner.
And in the other blue corner, we've got Mark Borja.
Hey, good morning, good evening, and good afternoon, everyone.
That's right.
Yes,
and
good
while
night
we're
and good
waiting
day.
for this
Super
live
don't
stream
think I
to start up, it looks like it's taking a second. Maybe there's just like so much awesomeness in this feed right now.
Too much
think
epicness. Too much for it.
that's exactly what's going on.
Instagram.
We're going nuts on the Go Nuts podcast here at Seven Nuts. Yes.
Absolutely.
Mark Borja here.
Anders hair.
Yes.
Rachel Torony.
Yes.
Yes.
And then Made in Charlotte Media, Greg Newberry's. Yes.
We're definitely gonna have to do that cut again because I was not ready to go.
Oh,
over here and operate
that was for the
things.
live feed.
Yeah.
So.
All right.
So, Instagram. So.
I know
So-
other cuts.
We got the cuts. We've got
the
those cuts.
We're running through it. So.
We're running through. Today we are really happy to be here at, and I'm gonna mispronounce this. I know I am. Hoyga.
Hooga.
Huga.
Huga, yes.
Huga.
Hooga.
Huga. And we're pumped to be here, and we are actually going to let Mark and Anders host this one. We're talking
Yes.
to Rich. I'm your lovely producer.
Yes.
back here.
Yes.
We're talking to Rachel today.
You love
She's
pressing
here.
that button.
She's here to talk to us. It is Mental Health Awareness Month. I think as of
Oh, it was May.
as
was
of
it?
May,
It was May.
right?
As
And
of
this
May,
is
so.
we're in early June at the moment, but
But
we
you know
are.
what? Mental health is for all
Yeah,
months.
it-
Right,
all
right,
year.
right.
All the
Important.
months.
All the months, all the
Yes.
years. Yeah, it's important. So
Absolutely.
that's why we're here.
Every month is Mental Health Awareness Month, but we line this up in the interest of talking with Rachel specifically about this. So who wants to kick it off? Who's got the
Yes,
first question
yes.
for Rachel, or should we let
Well-
Rachel introduce herself?
Yeah, we'll
Yes.
Yeah,
There we
bring it
go.
up a little more. So
Just tell us about yourself.
Yes.
Tell us that title that you have.
Yes.
That that we were talking to you about.
There's a lot of letters on this one.
a lot of letters.
I am an LCSWA, which means
LCSWA.
Licensed Clinical Social Worker Associate.
Okay.
Okay.
In 6 months, once I am fully licensed, I will drop the A. So only
you dropped the
4
A.
letters to
Okay.
remember. But yes.
Oh, you're dropping the A bomb right now? No, you're not. No.
For the purposes of this podcast, we'll
Yes.
just call me a therapist.
Yes, you're a
Yes.
therapist. I remember it was like food disorder, right?
Eating disorders.
Yes, food eating disorders and all that.
Yes.
So yes, yeah. So that last time earlier, Greg and Anders and I were, we were talking about, like a little bit of wellness.
We
check
was
for
going
ourselves.
to therapy.
Yeah, we want to go to therapy
We
right
went to
now.
therapy.
We're trying to go to therapy right now with Rachel. You're a therapist. Like,
Bring it on.
yes.
Yes.
Help. We need
Rachel,
help right
help
now.
us.
Yes.
Are you the man?
I need help right now. Oh God.
Help
I
us,
mean-
Rachel. So
First and foremost, the thing is like mental health does not necessarily equate to mental illness. Everybody has mental health. Not everybody has mental illness, and that doesn't mean that you don't need to seek a therapist. No
Right.
shame there.
absolutely, I believe that 100%. We started talking about mental health primarily because of COVID-19.
Yeah.
But honestly, 2020 has provided a lot of reasons
A lot
to
of
talk
anxiety.
about mental
yeah.
health.
Yeah, too much, honestly.
Yeah,
So.
especially with the last week or so being extremely hard.
Yeah, with
Yeah.
like the protests and now that's literally just following COVID, which is still technically still going on and all that. So,
Yeah,
yeah. Like
absolutely.
when we started our podcast, like we were talking about this self-care, mental health, and all that, and now it's not getting better. It's starting to escalate a little bit more. We need, like, especially staying at home and everything. Like we're going on Zoom calls trying to just keep up with everyone, and like it's not good. So
Absolutely.
yeah. So like how did you even first just get into like wanting to become like a therapist and everything like that? So
Yeah, so I had my own personal experience battling mental health where I was pretty dissatisfied with some of the treatment that I received. I felt like there were a lot of gaps that made it really challenging for me to get the support that I was looking for. And also I felt like I was being pushed into boxes that didn't really fit what was going on for me. And that was so frustrating and invalidating. And in addition to that, like at that point, I was in high school.
Mm.
People are mean in high school.
They are vicious, honestly. So
Yeah.
they're
And
vicious.
mental health is not something that you can necessarily just come out and talk about, or at least it wasn't at that time. And it didn't feel like something that I could talk about at that time until eventually I just got so fed up and I just decided that this was something that I was going to be open about. And that was actually a very huge part of my personal mental health journey. And from there, I took a psych class in high school, went to get my psych degree at UConn, and then came down to Charlotte to get my master's in social work.
Oh, nice.
And I am in my dream field at this point, which is kind of unheard of straight out of grad school, but I'm lucky.
That's what's up. I hear a lot of stories about when people say that it's usually their own like issues that people go through that lead them to, I guess, certain fields, like whether it be psychology or sociology. So I'm glad that, you took that avenue and you made that route.
Yeah.
It's made a huge difference in your life, I bet.
It's interesting that you chose both of those like subjects for
Yeah.
this, because social work is technically a combination of psychology, sociology, and philosophy. So it encompasses all of that.
Right.
Yeah, and I remember before even having it, so you were telling us about a little conversation where there's like a stigmas between, like, sometimes even for like mental health, or even for us to even just want to go out there and find it, it's hard. But then there's also like looking in and trying to find more information. That's what we really want to like figure out too, is like what the difference is between like a psychiatrist or like a psychologist, a counselor, a life coach, or even like like a therapist. And then like there's so many like literally avenues for all of it. Like, what's the best one, just for ourselves? So,
So I guess that's kind of where I'll start to break it down. I think that people don't necessarily know all of the options that are out there to receive therapy. There's definitely a lot of different therapeutic styles, so it's really important, if you can find the access, to take the time to find a therapist who you really click with, because what they say in social work and therapy is the most important part of therapy, the way that you get the most benefit, is through that therapeutic alliance, through the relationship that you build with this therapist. And if you're not clicking,
it doesn't work then. So they got to be like your best friend at that point. You can like talk to them about literally everything.
Yeah.
And just literally pour your heart out too. So
and there's go ahead.
No, sorry. I was wanting to piggyback on what you said about like finding a therapist. A lot of people don't actually know how to get help.
Yeah.
So what would you recommend people do, I guess, to find a therapist, I guess, that's in their network, if you have insurance, because not everybody has insurance. Finding that therapist in your network and finding the right therapist for you. What would you recommend people do to do that?
Absolutely. So Mark actually sent me that really cool
with the
video.
Samanaj.
Talking about how even if you go through your insurance company, sometimes they send outdated lists, and sometimes you're calling hundreds of numbers trying to get in touch with someone. My best advice would be psychologytoday.com. It is a platform where therapists of kind of all disciplines can go, make a profile. You can filter it by insurance. You can filter it by location. You can filter it by different specialties. And I would probably say that is the most accurate way, because it is pretty well maintained and kept up to date. In terms of insurance, though, not all of us are fortunate enough to have insurance. Not all of us are fortunate to have insurance with good mental health coverage.
Yeah, exactly. Even when I reached out to a couple of them before, like I found one right off the bat that was really great, and then I really loved like just having that conversation on the phone with him. But then like my insurance wasn't covering it. Without insurance, it's like $300, and like that's each appointment. And I'm like, I don't even think I could do that every single month, and all, or even less, more than that. Like
it's like a bill. That's multiple bills.
Yeah.
That's like utilities. Right
there. My insurance for my work doesn't cover that, so like it makes it that much harder to even really like just figure out what's going on with my head. What am I really going through? Am I okay, or am I doing this right, kind of thing? So you can talk to your friends and family about it, but like they only know so much. It helps to have like a professional to really help you like figure out what's going on and how can you best tackle it. So
So what I will say to that is, just because you have insurance that has some mental health coverage doesn't necessarily mean going through insurance is going to be your best bet. There are a lot of different situations. People with super high deductible insurance, it's not always going to be so beneficial to bill through there because then you still have pretty high copays. So sometimes what therapists will do is they will provide sliding scale based off of, your income level, percentage of what is feasible for you. So for those of you without insurance or for those of you with insurance that's not so great, I would suggest really looking for someone who does provide that option. It can make it a little bit more accessible. Now it's still going to be there.
I heard somewhere that because of the virus, they're actually waiving some insurance fees for mental health reasons.
Yes.
Yeah.
So we've actually been really lucky with that, especially so the way that it works with insurance is things get kind of complicated. And with COVID, they had to rewrite a lot of different treatment definitions.
Right.
And that's how they determine what services will be covered. So we've been really lucky. I personally work at a day program. So obviously with all of the restrictions, can't really go do that in person. Day program automatically means that's a higher level of care. These people cannot really function on the day-to-day without that support.
So I remember you told me before, you do like Zoom calls. Like you're like literally on the computer with them like
cool.
every single day, like what, 8 to 5, like literally on the clock, just calling all your clients. Right?
So it's group therapy for most of the day, 9 to 2 group therapy, 2 to 5 individual sessions, pretty much back to back to back. But insurance has really stepped up. One of my actually, my CEO had to kind of go to bat to get one of the insurance companies to rewrite their definition to be a little bit more inclusive. But we've been pretty lucky with the lenience that a lot of insurance companies are doing with virtual therapy specifically. That being said, I hope that it lasts.
Yeah, because I mean, how long? We don't even know how long this is gonna last, especially with how things are like escalating more and more. I think I remember seeing like before, even on like social media, they're advertising that like there is hotlines you can call just in case you don't even have one, right? So
Yeah.
A lot of the information that's going out there, especially with the whole police brutality thing that's going on, a lot of my people, Black people, are feeling their feelings,
anxiety,
and
like
it's affecting us. So a lot of the information that I've seen, a lot of it is about donations and stuff like that. But I think it's also important to push information that talks about how you can self-care, how you can get help if you're feeling stressed or you're feeling anxiety or you're feeling depression about this whole thing, because it is important that, even though the times that we're living in are not ideal, there are still ways that you can get help for yourself.
Yeah. I mean, when is it ever going to be ideal? Hopefully we are working towards that.
Absolutely.
I bet, there's literally the protests happening, literally, it's still going on right now.
It's going on right now.
I bet your anxiety is literally through the roof.
Yeah.
Because you want to make sure that you're going to be okay.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
Well, one of the important things that I especially want everyone to know and remember is that something like this, it's trauma for a lot of people.
Yeah.
Something called generational trauma.
Absolutely.
This oppression, it's been passed down. You experience these things. And to the marches, the protests, all of the police brutality is kind of a reminder of that trauma, and it adds to it. This is something that's called little T trauma. So there's big T trauma, which is like the things that you would think of when you think of PTSD.
Oh, okay.
Little T trauma is much more
like it's like added to it, like just like little things around you.
Yeah,
like,
it's
Absolutely.
you can't really define it. It's just something that you experience and it impacts you, and it kind of
indirect,
builds on each
almost,
other.
yeah.
Indirect.
Okay, I got you.
That's
So,
a good way to say
I
it.
got you. But then as this is going on, it's becoming more and more direct and all that. So,
Yeah.
Yeah. I remember you wanted to ask some questions about like how to go about that kind of stuff too with everything. So,
Yeah. I mean, with everything that's going on with police brutality and with COVID-19, people have a sense of, getting too much information. I mean, I know we want to stay connected to the movement and be a part of all of that. But sometimes you do need to unplug, especially us, especially us. So
it's important. Like it's on social media every single day. COVID, protest, everything else. There's aliens. There's all these different types of things. And I'm like, 2020 is like the end of the world right now. And it is important to just kind of take a step back. And I think even with social media, that probably does take a lot of effect into anxiety, trauma, and all that too. So and with all that stuff from social media, it's like all these little T's, but all of a sudden it becomes like a huge big T at one point, I'm sure. So
Yeah, I mean, it builds up.
It's like seeing police is extremely traumatic.
Yeah.
Like, I remember me and my friends, we were on our way to Target, We were going to Target to get something. I can't remember what it was. It was the day after after the story came out about George Floyd, and there were 2 or 3 police cars in the front, and we all sort of got still, and we were like, can we like just go to another store or something like that? So it affects. It's not just
doing daily things.
Yeah, it's that off the record sense of anxiety that you feel that and then seeing it on TV, it's just like it adds to that.
I couldn't imagine, honestly. It's just that it's just 10 times worse now with everything. So
Well, that's absolutely a trauma response. It's called hypervigilance.
Yeah.
It's when you are on high alert for danger. And that's very real.
Yeah. Yeah. You feel that, especially I've had one experience with that before.
Really?
Yeah. I guess, can I go into story
If
time?
you want.
Is that
So,
cool?
Oh, please.
So
yeah, you can go. It's like we got plenty of time. We just got started a little bit ago. So yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
So I was coming home from work, and I don't know if I told you, but I my parents aren't together. I lived with my dad for a while, but now I stay with my mom. So my license says my dad's address, but I was going to my mom's address. And I was coming home from work. I noticed that there was a cop behind me.
Oh, really?
And I noticed, I was like, oh, he's behind me. He's tailing me. So maybe he's just like going somewhere else.
Yeah, that's what I try to think too. Especially every time I see something, I'm like, it's okay, we're fine. But keep going. Yeah.
But I was, getting into the neighborhood, and he was still behind me. And I was like, why is he behind me? So I was like, okay, I'll get home. I pulled into the driveway, and he like parks directly behind me, like to where like he's like blocking me in.
Really? Yeah.
And so I don't know what's going on. I'm confused. So
no sirens, no like nothing. You're just there. Yeah.
I kind of acted like I was stepping out of the car. Like I opened the door, and the blue lights came on.
Really?
Immediately.
Oh,
and
that's terrible.
He came up to the car. He asked for license and registration, of course, and I showed it to him, and he looked at the address, and he was like, This isn't. Are you sure you live here? Like,
this is my mom's house.
Yeah, like, I live here. What do you mean? He was like, are you sure? He goes back to the car.
Everything. So.
And another cop pulls up, and so my heart is racing at this point.
Yeah,
I'm like, okay,
that's too much right there.
This was like right after Philando Castile back in 2016.
2016. Okay.
So,
how old are you then? Yeah.
I was 18.
18.
No,
really?
like 19, I think.
Okay.
I believe I was 19 at the time. So, they're talking, and they both walk back to the door, and they're like, "Sir, are you sure that you live here? Because this address does not match." And blah blah blah. He was like, "Yes, this is my mother's house. Like, that's my dad's address on there, but this is my mom's house." My mom comes out, and she's like, "What's going on?" And they're like, I just want to make sure that he lives here. Does he live here? She's like, "Yes, that's my son." And so they're like, "Oh, well, we got him for a tag." Like really? Like the tag on my license plate was out, and they're like, "Just make sure you get it changed." And they left.
Well, and that's too much. Just like literally, if they're following you home, and you call another one for backup, like literally, what are you doing? You're at your house. You're like you were just going home and all that. So like,
I was just that shook me, especially considering that it happened around the same time that the whole Philando Castile thing. It shook me, and it made me realize that this is real. I grew up sort of. My parents have good jobs. I grew up in a nice neighborhood. So part of me, a small part of me was like, I don't think it could happen to me, but it did. And it scared me.
It's a hard
thing. And it made
me
realize this is real.
Sometimes you never know, but then all of a sudden it just hits you, and like that alone that's no longer a little T. That's the big T, I think, right there too. Honestly,
for sure.
Especially like just like not being treated the way you are as a human being.
Right.
Like you're being treated like a criminal there or something like that. So,
right.
Yeah, like that's not right. So,
and
so they let you go though, but they left. And everything. Okay, that's good. So
usually when I think about it, it brings back memories, and I'm like, it could have been me, and the story would have been like had something happened, the story would have been he was going to his mom's house, but the address didn't match up, and she's a single mother. So it plays into, I guess, multiple stereotypes of that. So I think of that, and I'm like, I feel like I could have been a story. I could have been a statistic, another statistic.
And thank God you're not. You're here right now with us, and we're seeking help right now. So we're seeking to make sure that we are able to get past these traumas, and hopefully with everything going on, that we're able to be improving not just ourselves, but everything around us too. So
absolutely.
I'm so sorry that happened to you.
Thanks.
Yeah. It's tough. So.
I appreciate. I always appreciate support, especially from people who understand, or not understand, but like are willing to sympathize and
empathize.
Know that I'm seen and that I'm heard. So
and that's important. I think that's with all that and these anxieties, like not having that voice and not being able to just put yourself out there the way you want to. And like the times now, it's like it's almost feels like you're disrespected because of that. So and
so
but you're good now though. So,
I'm good now. Trying to
and it's brave of you to even go out there in the protest now, because I saw it. What was it, ABC? Who interviewed you?
WBTV, CBS, the CBS news, the local news here in Charlotte. They interviewed me because we went out to the protest on Tuesday, and it was actually my little sister. My little sister came to me and was like, I see that the NAACP is holding a protest uptown, and I want to go. I want to support. And I was like, you know what? We're going to go. Yeah. Because I want you to be able to see this, and I want us to be able to fight this together. Yeah. So we went together, and that was a really good experience. My other brother, he came with us. So plus 3 of my best friends.
And you have that support group right there. And I think that's the biggest thing, is just making sure you have that support group. You're not alone in whatever you're going through and everything like that. So,
Speaking of support groups, I guess during these times, if you can't go to therapy, what other forms of, I guess, care can you give yourself to cope with these traumatic situations, whether it be police brutality or COVID or anything really? How do you, I guess, support that?
Yeah. So I actually did some research for you guys on this one.
Okay.
Cool. But things like support groups are a very inexpensive way to process and express and explore your feelings with people who have had similar experiences. They actually don't even need to be run by a therapist. Like, anybody can facilitate a group.
You can really just start one. Okay.
Yeah. And the reason why it is so powerful to work in groups like that is because these experiences, just because of the nature of all of them, can be so isolating.
And traumatic. Everything.
Yeah. And the instinct when you're experiencing trauma can sometimes be to hide and pull back. And that's not helpful, because you guys have mentioned feeling your feelings is really like the only way that we can process and make sure that these things don't have really huge consequences for us. So support groups, anyone can make one.
Okay, that's good.
Essentially, you just need a space, you need a person who's willing to facilitate, and you need a group of people who are willing to attend consistently.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, because like I was saying that now just with the Go Nuts podcast, we just wanted to create a support group, not just for cancer survivors, but like people for mental health, just making sure that they're okay. Yeah, we want to make sure that this is you're not just your nuts are safe. Your home. This is your home. This is a safe space for you guys to literally talk about what you're going through. Yeah. But then the issue is like support groups are for guys mainly, or even that. It's like it's very far and small in between. Like most support groups that I've shadowed, like just to see like how they do it, it's mainly female. No, so
I buy
times.
it 100%.
Or even or like if you're an alcoholic or addict, but like just not like ones that are going through like more trauma. Like at least from what I've seen, just kind of scraping the surface. I want to dig deeper.
There's all types of PTSD out there. There's all types of things that people need to recover from, whether it be, trauma like what I've been through, or like you said, alcoholism,
or cancer,
drug
and all that stuff too. So
so I think it's all important. Everything's important.
Yeah.
So, and I think one of the reasons why you see primarily females in these groups is
They're good at talking about their feelings.
Well, why do you think that is, though, right? Because what were you guys taught as kids?
To be strong.
Yeah.
This goes back to
Yeah.
toxic masculinity and all that we were talking
Absolutely.
about.
We had a
before.
podcast about that too before,
Yeah.
about toxic masculinity, how we're supposed to be like okay
Yeah.
with everything.
Always.
Like my dad would tell me before, he's like, Mark, just pray and go to sleep. Just pray and go to sleep. I'm like, okay, fine, Dad. But what if I'm really going through something, Dad?
Yeah.
Just go to sleep. You need some sleep. Simon and I was just making a joke
personally-
about that too. So, yeah.
My parents, personally, they taught me don't go to bed upset about anything because you won't be able to sleep. But I think that's why I love the Saving Up podcast, or Saving Up in general,
Yeah.
because it is an avenue for young people to express themselves.
Just safe space right here. So,
yeah,
yes.
and to, let their feelings out.
Yeah.
So I love that. Love that initiative.
And that's what we're doing. We're pouring it out right now. We're going nuts on our emotions right now. And thank you
Absolutely.
for listening to us right here.
Oh, no, I
Rachel.
live.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
mean, first of all, it's my job, so
Yeah.
I literally do this for a living. But second, I love it and I live for it.
Yes.
Yeah.
And, the term safe space, it's appropriate in a lot of
Yeah.
situations, but in this one, I almost feel like it's a growth space,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because we're doing things that are really uncomfortable. And yes,
Yeah.
the space is safe, but it is not necessarily comfortable to go against messages that you received as a kid about the way that you're supposed to be processing your feelings.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it's hard. So it's like trying to figure that out, but like just having that people that really can help you build that community for it it's important. The hardest part is starting, and then the next part is just maintaining and continuing and all that. So
Yeah,
yeah, so,
absolutely.
So as you say before, it's pretty easy to support. Like, just create a support group, right?
Yeah, if you're really
Okay.
good at like organizing things, if you got a specific population
Yeah.
that you know that you want to work with,
Okay.
it shouldn't be too complicated.
Okay. Because that's what we're trying to figure out how we can implement that, and even just like have like people that we can have like on like a hotline to like or something like that they can reach out to talk to, whether you're a survivor or you're going through mental like something you just need someone to talk to. Like I want to just make sure we have something like that just that we can provide to everybody.
Yeah.
Side note though, support groups don't necessarily replace therapy, but they
Yeah.
can be a nice thing to do in conjunction just because it is important to be able to process with someone who kind of knows what you're processing for.
So it's a good segue into it.
Yeah, absolutely. It's good for so many reasons, but doesn't necessarily eliminate the need for
Okay.
other types of therapy.
Okay,
Yeah.
got you. So
Absolutely.
let's what else we got here.
So-
So yeah.
I think I want to talk about the role that the media plays in a lot of this. I know we talked briefly about how seeing a lot of this stuff on TV can, really mess with you. But and like we said, it's important to, I guess, pull away or sort of shut things off in order to give yourself some space.
Yes.
What could you tell us about that aspect of it? About how to pull away without actually but still stay connected.
Yeah. So I think this is an issue, obviously, particularly now, but also just every day with social media. It can be this really great thing that allows us to connect and understand what's going on and see all of these different perspectives. But more often than not, it can really quickly turn into a very toxic place.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I believe that 100%.
It can definitely take away communication almost with the people around you. So if you're just at home, you're like sometimes you're doing is just on your phone, not really communicating with your friends or your family.
Absolutely.
I honestly try to cut my phone or put up my phone on Do Not Disturb after 10 o'clock just so I'm not getting any notifications from anybody. I'm just sort of by myself. Unless it's an emergency or something, then nobody can reach me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's good to balance it like that.
Well,
'cause
that's
yeah.
a huge part of mental health and self-care, which
Yeah.
is one of my favorite topics on the planet Earth, is boundaries are huge and necessary.
Absolutely.
They also happen to be very difficult. We deal with guilt. We deal with shame if we're not on 100% of the time. But the fact of the matter is you cannot effectively advocate for change if you are coming from a place
If you
where
haven't
you
dealt
don't
with
have
your
anything to
own
give.
stuff. If you
Yeah.
have not dealt with your own issues, then you can't help anybody else.
One of my
I genuinely
favorite
believe that.
Yeah, you remember you mentioned that quote. It's like
Yes.
you can't pour out with an empty cup or something. What was the quote?
My favorite quote is you can't pour from an empty cup.
Yeah, that one.
And basically what that means is self-care is not selfish. It is necessary.
Yeah.
And think about it. If you are a person who wants to go out on the front lines, you can't be doing that every day
Yeah.
and still be sending effective messages. That's going to damage your mental health.
Yeah.
And
I believe that.
you're going to get kind of sucked into things. So we've got a lot of people advocating. We've got a lot of people doing this work, and we need everyone to also be taking the time to take care of themselves
Yeah.
and unplug when it starts to feel like it's getting too much. Because think of those trauma experiences.
Yeah,
When
they whenever I'm out there, it brings it up, you know.
Absolutely.
Every time I see it on the news, it brings back those
Yeah.
memories.
Yeah, it's
and
like
it makes me
literally
think
like
of,
PTSD at that point. So
like I said, I took my siblings out there because when I see it, I think of them.
Yeah.
I think of all.
yeah,
like,
you think about your
all-
future.
Yeah, think of all that. So that's why you go out there because you don't want that to happen to anybody else. But when you're in a situation like mine, where you've kind of experienced a little bit of that, it's traumatizing. It can be traumatizing to go out there.
But it's
Like,
really brave of you to even want to go out there in the first place too. Though I love that. So yeah.
I don't know if you guys have seen the Netflix miniseries When They See Us. One of the
I haven't seen that one. No.
it's about the 4 black men who were arrested in Central Park 5.
Oh yeah.
That went to prison wrongfully. They were sentenced to, I think the longest sentence was like 15 years
Really?
in
Yeah.
prison over, I guess, sexually assaulting a woman. They were proven innocent later on.
But they still serve time.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they still serve time. One of them spent at least like 3 or 4 years and probably longer. Correct me if I'm wrong, but it might be longer in solitary confinement.
That's crazy.
So, but they got out, and the one who was in solitary confinement was out protesting. Has been out
Oh, really?
protesting.
That is amazing.
Yeah.
So imagine, I can only imagine what he's feeling when he's out there. Like if I feel a way when I'm out there, I can only imagine how he feels when he's out there. And so I commend him for that. His name is Corey Wise.
Corey Wise. Okay.
Yeah,
That's incredible right there. So
yeah,
That
he
really
does.
is.
Yeah.
That's amazing to me.
yeah.
Yeah,
That's a man who's been through some stuff, but he's still willing to go out there and then keep fighting and all that. So yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah. But like
And-
even like just maintaining yourself too, that alone I'm sure is incredibly hard. So like how can like what do you think are like good like ways to just keep on with that self-care, just even because even with being out there, like it's
Yeah.
really exhausting, and even just being just a even regular person, just like kind of like just as you're going about your regular day things without worrying about that stuff, it's like hard because you want to make sure everyone's happy, and you want to make sure everyone's doing the right thing, and or you're doing the right things. How do you think? What are some good like tips right off the bat, like that you like just do? Like just kind of step away from social media. Like what do you think is like?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
makes
so
sense
first
then.
and
Yeah.
foremost,
Yeah.
what I want to kind of say is one of the reasons that it's so important for people like me to be out there and advocating is so that people who have experienced, people who have this trauma that comes up for them every time that they do feel safe to take a break.
Yeah.
I mean, it's
important.
our responsibility
Yeah.
to, keep that up so that you
Yeah.
guys are not doing further damage to your mental health.
Yeah,
And
I believe that.
Yeah, in terms of self-care, I think one of the most important things that we can do is be really careful with the experience that we are curating online, because very quickly and very easily the accounts that we follow become our majority view of the world.
Yeah.
And I'm coming from an eating disorder lens, so social media is huge with the clients that I work with because it is a breeding ground for comparison. And another big quote in therapy is, comparison is the thief of joy.
Yeah.
Essentially, when you are a person who is following all of these thin, white, beautiful women online,
Yeah.
you start to believe that that's the majority.
Yeah.
And guess what? It's not.
It's not.
Yeah.
No. Yeah. That's just what you're seeing on your with
Yeah.
your
Yeah.
rose-colored lens
Very
and all that.
small
So.
lens of something that's much bigger.
Yeah. And it's our brain's nature to kind of generalize that to make sense of the world that we're in. And so general rule of thumb is just be really careful and really aware of the way that the pages that you're following are influencing you.
That's true, honestly, because everyone's on Instagram and just literally looking at everything, and if you're just looking at just things to really awe yourself over, it's not healthy. So
Yeah. Focusing on one thing too much is dangerous because life is not just that. We still have to take a step back every once in a while, recharge, reflect on our experiences, and make sure that we're taking care of ourselves so that we can put other positive things out into the world.
Absolutely.
When a person gets burnt out,
you burn out.
they might not be so nice.
Exactly. So yeah, I feel like I've with everything, I've just experienced burnout myself, and just just trying to go about like even before like Corona and before like all the protests going on, I was already experiencing that burnout. I'm like, I need to like just stop, just like take a step back, take care of myself. And that was like what I was trying to do at the beginning of the year of 2020. And like I was kind of like already getting to that point where like, all right, I won't go out and do something. I won't go out to the bar, spend all the money. I won't go out and do this. And like now it's quarantine. I'm like, oh, okay, I guess that's helping a little bit. But then like you want to go out and see your friends and talk to everybody.
Yeah.
But because of that, you're still on your phone like every day, like social media,
Yeah.
YouTube,
Yeah.
everything.
I genuinely believe that quarantine has sort of
Mm-hmm.
taken a toll on society in general.
Yeah.
I feel like it's kind of hindered. It's helped in some ways, but at the same time, it's sort of hindered our ability to be social. You know,
I definitely feel like it's hindered me a little bit. So
Yeah.
I'm like really happy that we're like just here. We're talking about all our feels, everything, and
Yeah.
and like just,
I
I'm
honestly,
thankful for this. So,
I feel like,
Mm-hmm.
for me personally, I feel like it's sort of a chapter shift.
Absolutely.
Almost like before COVID was a certain part of life.
yeah.
After,
Yeah.
we're going to be dealing with
So many
the
different things,
effects
yeah.
of it, socially, economically, psychologically, you know. So I feel like it's almost like a reset.
Absolutely.
It's almost a mental reset.
And that's what we all needed, honestly, because like everyone's like literally just go, let's do this, let's do that, let's do that. Sometimes it's important to just take a step back. And just
I think it's always
Take a deep
important to
breath.
take a step back. The unfortunate thing is that during this time, those who are struggling with anxiety, depression,
Yeah.
other mental illnesses are really struggling because
Yeah.
it's not like taking a step back. And I think one of the most
Yeah.
important things to recognize during this time is we're not taking a break. Like this
Yeah.
is not like a fun, relaxing
Yeah,
time.
it's
Like
not.
there is
Yeah.
genuine,
There's hysteria, there's anxiety, there's
There's-
all types of things.
yeah,
Like,
that just
People-
comes
there's a
along
revo-
with this.
The revolution.
yeah.
But
We're
there-
literally living through a history book right now.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
There are, I do think, like a lot of positive things that are coming out of it for some people. I mean, I've finally had the time and space and genuine need to get the heck out of my house. And, you know, I started mountain biking. I've been going to the Whitewater Center, doing some
That's awesome
kayaking,
stuff.
getting
That's awesome.
outside, and that's been
Yeah.
I didn't know they were
Huge.
open again.
They are open again.
I want to go.
Yeah,
Me and my
honestly,
friends
it's
always said that we
beautiful
were going to
there.
go.
I haven't been there in so long.
Yeah.
You know, I can imagine it's so great. right now,
I just
so,
got my season pass, and I basically live there all
There you
year
go.
round because they're super dog friendly.
I think
Yo.
the big thing is just being active, just kind of like not sitting at home, and that's what I've been kind of like really affecting myself is because
Yeah.
I'm just sitting at home on my phone on YouTube playing video games. I stayed up till 5 a.m. last night playing video games, so
Dang.
and I felt the repercussions of this last night, so, or this
Yeah.
morning. So I'm
Yeah.
like, I should not do that. I should actually just be an active like regular person, just doing things and or even just trying to be a better person at that
Yeah.
point, just to like really see how it can help others in this time of need and all that. So yeah.
And even just make sure that you're showing yourself a lot of compassion during this time because it's not an easy shift by
Yeah.
any
Yeah.
means. Nobody saw this coming.
No,
Yeah.
no one. There's a big left hook right here. And like, oh God, what is going on right
Yeah.
now?
Right.
Yeah, I remember I seeing like on Instagram before, like I think it was like in the March. I was at the beach and then like all of a sudden I see like on social media there's like the in South End or the ABC store is that like the
Yeah.
one that's right across from like this bar gin mill and all that like. There was like
Yep.
a food
I think I
truck
know what you're
exploded.
talking
Like it was like this huge
Yes,
explosion. Like,
I remember seeing
Oh,
that.
I
And I'm
did
like-
hear about that.
yeah, I remember
was
looking
like,
at
the
Leah, like,
apocalypse is here.
yeah, I remember looking at my
Stuff is
girlfriend. And I'm like,
exploding.
it's the end of the world right now. Like, this is not good. So,
Oh man,
yeah.
if only that were the
Is it-
only thing.
I mean, honestly,
Yeah.
I didn't add to my anxieties when I started watching a bunch of like zombie apocalypse movies before once
you
the started. So,
You can't do that.
yeah, I know it's not healthy. So it's like
Yeah.
like I think the important thing is like making sure you limit and balance your digestive media.
Yeah.
And then, but act on things that are important to you, and do that and help where you can and all that. So instead of like just
Absolutely.
sitting at home, like
Well, a big part of self-care is making sure that you are living your values.
yeah, live your truth.
Yeah.
That's what I remember. When I showed you one of those videos with Hassan Minaj and Charlemagne the God. Like they literally were talking about like one of the things that he would want to say as if he was to run as president, he would be like, live your truth, just be who you are, live your values, and don't let anyone like kind of like falter that. So yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I believe that 100%.
Yeah. Just
If
gotta-
you stand, like I've always heard, if you don't stand for something,
You'll fall for anything. Yeah.
Absolutely, I believe that 100%.
My own therapist said that to me the other day.
Oh, really? Oh, it's all connecting right here. So
It's all
yes.
connected.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. Greg, do you have any comments, questions, or concerns of your self-care in life?
You know, I kind of resonate with all of this this talk. I'm a man of numbers.
Yeah.
I am. But there is like just the correlation between all the crazy stuff and then after quarantine. Like you can't tell, like, because it's all a product of people, right? Like this isn't like, you know, Y2K. I'm gonna show my age real quick, but this isn't like a Y2K. Like, okay, there's a massive problem with the computer system and everything's gonna fail unless someone can fix it, right? This is a massive societal problem, and is a problems with people dealing with other people in ways that are pissing people off. So it's not like this uncontrollable thing. Like if you think about it, it's macro controllable. It's macro controllable, and it's just really sad that it's 2020 and we're honestly sitting here kind of having these conversations about these types of things. Like you would think it would be a given.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's why I'm kind of at a loss for words for like,
Really? Yeah.
really? Are you serious? Because I saw, I don't know, just so many things. Like you see people point out so many things, and then with the advent of like Instagram Live and like everybody has a camera in their pocket, so we're getting a more accurate, if not plentiful, view of the world. You know, you can kind of question the algorithms and, you know, oh, do they show more of this or more of that? But at the end of the day, it's like, well, they wouldn't be able to show you this much of the stuff if it wasn't all over the freaking place.
Yeah.
So
One of the things that has come to my attention lately is, you know, working in eating disorders. It's a lot about body image. It's a lot about that. But even as a therapist as a whole, a lot of time that I spend with my clients is spent essentially trying to undo the damage of unrealistic societal expectations.
Oh yeah.
And it's hard to talk about because people don't really recognize that all of these idealistic standards that we hold ourselves to don't necessarily fit.
Yeah. It's almost like literally like you've idealized the image of like what just we're supposed to be and things like that, and like because of that we have this like amount ourselves up to that certain expectation, and then like and we're all different people and all that. We're all like literally just who we are, and we have to be the best version of that. Like that we shouldn't compete with societal standards. We need to just be ourselves and be true to that too.
Stand in what you believe in.
Yeah.
I believe that 100%.
It's hard when sometimes the things that you believe in come from the society that's not really looking out for your best interests.
I feel like they never were. So they never were. They just want our money.
Might be true.
Yeah.
Probably true.
You know, right?
It's broken.
Yeah, the system is broken, and we're trying to figure out a way we can fix it. But
Yeah.
you know, maybe let's just move. Let's just go with SpaceX and just go to
Sign me up.
Yeah, let's go with Elon Musk to go to Mars real quick.
Yeah.
Maybe that'd be better.
Is it
Just start
dog
somewhere
friendly?
new. Yeah, hopefully there will be. So yeah, I mean, I think who knows? Next you know, the next chapter of 2020, aliens are coming to visit. So
There we go.
it'll be okay. So
Who's ready?
yes. Oh my God, but yeah, I think. Is there any comments or anything on the Instagram Live, Greg? Or-
well, let's take a look.
Let's take a look,
I'm
so,
gonna
yeah.
have to take the live feed down
Oh yeah.
so we can look at it. But we have a handful of people.
Oh yeah.
wow.
We've got,
Oh God.
So nervous.
let's see here. We've got hair raising.
Oh,
Hey, hair raising.
Yeah. Oh, nice.
We've got
Yeah.
reed
that's my
racing.
mom. That's my mom.
Yeah.
We've got.
Yeah.
There you go.
She's
Here.
watching.
Oh, that's Andres, your mom.
Yeah.
She wants to know, are there any
Flip it
free-
towards us. Flip it towards us so they can see us. Oh no, I'm talking about can you switch the camera towards? Yeah.
I don't know, dude. I got a lot of things going on. Oh, here we go.
Yeah, you can switch the camera that way they can see us. So.
Okay.
There you
so
go. Mhm.
I don't think that's much better. But we've got. She wants to know if there are any free resources for. My mic is not on. She wants to know if there are any free resources. That's hair raising. That's Anders' mom.
Yeah.
Wants to know if there's any free resources out there for. I think she left it at that. But what? I guess probably this is a good question for Rachel. What kind of free resources do folks have access to with all this stuff going on, mental health and otherwise?
So I don't necessarily have an answer on that one. I'd have to, you know, kind of check on some resources. I know
Yeah.
we talked support groups.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And hopefully,
And really, people are sharing a lot of stuff online too. You know, I actually did a whole post on Twitter that it was a thread rather of like just different resources like for people who want to learn more, who people want to take action, and some self-care stuff as well.
cool.
So there's many different resources people can use to learn about it, like books, there's
Yeah.
movies
This is a point.
about
We gotta educate ourselves here.
experiences.
So yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
this is the moment to do so.
Yeah. And then there's so many places you can donate and petitions you can sign as well.
Yeah.
So it's all about, I guess, finding some. You know, there's some really big ones, and then there's some smaller ones for organizations that directly don't help the cause, but might help something different from the cause. Like, for example, I think I ran into one that was about, I want to say it was empowering young, I believe it was the Boys and Girls Club, something of that nature, that where you could donate to a young men or young women's organization, and, you know, give them the funds to, you know, give them good at like certain activities and stuff like that. So, I mean, police brutality, that's the main fight that we're fighting. But at the same time, it's important to invest in so many different avenues, and, you know.
Yeah. And I think, if anything, making your own support group at that point, be like, hey, if you need someone to talk to, like, we're here for you.
Yeah.
And that is just literally just starting it. Yeah.
There's so many avenues that you could go down.
Yeah. And
to
even
find
making
it.
your own avenue at that point, too. So
Google is your friend when it comes to stuff like that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I will do my best to find
Yeah.
any free mental health resources so
Yeah.
that I can get back to you guys.
Yeah, because that would be really great, especially with everything going on. Like, I mean, with quarantine, and most people are still out of like work and things like that. Like that's what this is also adds out to the fire of like anxiety, mental health, and everything. Because like we're strapped. Some of us are strapped in cash. We got to figure out what we can do to like figure out how to even help, or even how to even like get our help ourselves.
Yeah.
You know what? I can do them one better. We can.
Yeah.
I have a few that like I've seen around that maybe we can put in the comment section or like you know the caption of the you know the podcast when we find it.
Yeah.
You wanna?
Just say, let me jump in here. We got a website. I know. Should we add a tab right up to the top, like the hot list?
Yeah.
Right. Like whatever's hot. If it's COVID, if it's police brutality, whatever's going on, have a hot list of free resources and just different links that we find.
And everything that we talked about for this, like that would be awesome. So.
That would be good. We got a hot list coming for you guys.
Yes, check out the hot list
Check
right
out
here.
the hot
Here.
list. Mark, what's the
COVID is so hot right now.
Oh no, no, it's not. It's 90 degrees outside. I'm probably not adding to it. It's like, I remember there's a meme that I remember seeing is like, time traveler. What year is it? Me, 2020. Time traveler. Ah, yes, the first year of quarantine. Yes.
First year of quarantine.
Yes.
Oh no.
Hey, have you gotten to the zombies yet?
I don't like how they said first there.
Yeah.
Oh,
my
that was
Jesus
a little
Christ.
bit
Yeah.
concerning.
And then with the and then with the killer bees. Oh, what happened to the killer bees? Oh, that was just a filler episode.
yeah.
Yeah.
I saw that somewhere.
We're just going through them real quick, and God, we're only halfway there. So,
Oh,
Yeah.
God.
oh man, Lord have mercy on our souls. Yes, yes.
Were there any other comments?
Yeah.
Let's take a look and see what else we've got over here. We'll
How's the
definitely- the live streaming station will definitely have to evolve over time.
Yes.
But
Oh, no,
we've got
your crisis phone.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, you're good. Okay, good. Yeah.
we've got Leah D. She says you guys are great and this is an important topic. I love this a lot.
Yes. Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you, Leah.
Thank you, Leah.
Thank you,
I
Leah.
love you.
Much
I love you.
Wish you were here, woman.
I miss you.
We've got Orlando in there, the Venezuelan beast.
Yes.
The
The beastie.
Ex Shockley O City, ex Shockley
Hello.
Shockley City joined. We'll wave at him.
Say
Leah D says inspiring. And what helped you to stop comparing yourself to others? And then we've got Psych Out.
Psych out.
Psych Out. Sorry, I can't read.
Oh yeah, I think that's Sam right there. So, yeah.
That's who?
Sam. Yeah.
Sam?
Yeah.
Hey Sam, how's it going?
Yeah.
I'm gonna flip you guys back around, but
Yes.
I think the question is,
Yes.
how did we get away from comparison?
Yeah. So I think that's a really great question. So do you mind if I get a little psychological?
No, yeah,
Of
this
course.
is what we're doing here. Yeah.
Psychoanalysis.
All right.
Get deep with us. We're trying to go nuts.
Okay. So
Yes.
the reason why it is so difficult for us to stop doing certain things that are what we call maladaptive coping skills, meaning that they're really unhelpful in the long term for our mental health, things like comparison, is essentially because we have taught ourselves that this is very important information. Our brains want to, in theory, this doesn't always happen, our brains want to make life easier for us, so it stores this information. It says, okay, you've used comparison to dictate next behavior. So this must be really important because without the comparison, I don't really know what comes next. Now, this may not always be helpful because typically what we're using comparison to do is make ourselves feel badly.
Oh, really? So
To criticize.
Yeah.
So we're doing it to just, even though we know it feels good, but we know we're gonna feel bad, we do it anyway. Is that what you're saying?
Exactly.
Oh, okay, I got you. I feel like I tend to do that a lot. I'm kidding.
Yeah.
So-
I'm gonna do.
So I assume that people usually go into these comparisons thinking that good things are going to come out, but when the good things don't come out of those comparisons, that's when the negative thoughts and all that come.
Yes. So the thing is, all of these maladaptive behaviors, they start to serve a purpose in the beginning. And so what you'll always hear me say is that eating disorder behavior, self-harm, addiction, isolation, like any of these behaviors, comparison, obviously, all of these things start with the purpose of helping us probably calm our anxieties, and it does it in the short term. So comparisons in particular, why are you doing it? Are you doing it so that you change your behavior? Are you doing it so that you change something about your appearance? Are you doing it so that you can come off a certain way to other people?
Okay.
Comparisons initially can help us to navigate certain social situations, to navigate certain life things. But when we turn a little negative and we do this over and over again, it becomes automatic. And it becomes something that we weaponize against ourselves.
It almost becomes like an addiction at that point too. So
Yeah, in a way. And so it's very difficult to break these habits because we've taught our brain that this is necessary information for me to do the life things that I need to do. So it says, all right, I got you. I'll make this really easy. I'll streamline this process. However, more often
You're
than not,
automated at that point. You're just
yeah,
doing, so,
and it's not really helpful in the long term.
Right.
So in terms of stopping to compare myself, I've been particularly lucky. I am someone who has recovered from an eating disorder, so
That's amazing that you even
Congrats.
help kids
Thank
with
you.
eating disorder too.
thank you.
That's
It's
awesome.
been
That's
years,
awesome.
so
Yeah.
I've done my time and I've done my recovery. But one of the biggest things that's made a difference for me is the people that I surround myself with. So I am so lucky in this moment to work with a bunch of amazing women who believe in health at every size, believe in embracing your differences, living your truth, and they really preach these messages and live them in a big way. And so I never feel judged by the people that I'm surrounding myself with. And kind of like when we focus on certain things on social media, we curate our experiences in that way, and we create what is normal. And so because now my friends, my family, everyone that I care about and surround myself with, they are not actively trying to tear other people down, compare each other, and they're not sitting there saying this is better than that and something's wrong with me. I've been able to kind of free myself of those tendencies. Now that being said, it was still very automatic for me at one point.
But you found a support group and it really helps you improve that.
Yeah, and that doesn't mean that those thoughts don't still happen. It's just about the weight that you place on them. So if you're someone who is trying to prevent yourself from engaging in comparisons or other unhelpful behaviors, you kind of got to tackle it from the perspective of what's called neural rewiring or cognitive restructuring, which is essentially we break down those thoughts, we challenge them, we recognize this thought is causing me to feel this way, it's causing me to act this way. Basic cognitive behavioral therapy, very popular method of therapy. And then we start challenging them. Doesn't happen immediately.
It doesn't. It really is you have to kind of constantly keep working on it.
No, you absolutely. And that's where people get really frustrated. And that's where people who are numbers people get really frustrated with mental health as a whole because didn't mean to call you out. But
All right, I'm over here. That's what I'm here for.
Math tutor.
That's what I'm here for. There's a link. There's a link to
That
book
math
down
guy.
below. That math guy.
That math guy right
3.14 on
well,
Instagram.
not
You
necessarily
can
just
find me there.
numbers people, but people who are trained to think more logically and this is the end result that I'm working for. Mental health doesn't happen on that spectrum. It is
That's the hard part.
so gray area, and people hate that about it. Did I answer the question?
I will say I'm gonna jump in here and say no, you're 100% right that people like me hate that aspect of mental health because we want to believe, and I have been trained meticulously to believe that there is one optimal solution, right? There could be many optimal solutions that are kind of tied.
Yeah.
Or there could be some other solutions that work, but they're suboptimal. And that's, kind of maybe where I'd place like a coping mechanism, right? Maybe somewhere there. But like you said, everything doesn't readily translate. And that's probably the most frustrating part about it. And that's probably why people, I certainly, until very recently, in the past year or so, too, maybe, were very, very, for lack of a better term, like, we dismiss it. Like, we just completely dismiss the idea that, like, any of this stuff
Is valid? Or?
not necessarily, it's not about, like, validity, but it's just, like, it's the difference between going in for, like, a heart replacement and then, like, witch doctor-y kind of, sort of. Like, if I had to draw a comparison, you know what I mean? I'm not saying that none of it works and that nobody's ever had any kind of breakthrough or, like, none of the therapy works, but, a lot of it just seems like a rain dance.
Doubting.
A lot of it seems like a rain dance until you kind of experience it either yourself or you have like a close friend or somebody you love and care about that goes through this kind of thing, and like repeated exposure oftentimes will help clear it up as well. You're like, like with like a depression, for example, you think like, is this just the laziest person, in the world? And it's like, no, I don't think that's necessarily true. But you know what I mean? Like it takes a person that that it's not this, it's the other, right? Like it's not X, Y, or Z. Like that's depression. You know what I mean? Like it takes knowing, but you have to be able to weed out all those variables yourself.
Yeah.
Until you kind of believe that, okay, like maybe there's some truth behind this. This kind of other stuff here.
Yeah. So a lot of that stuff is self-diagnosable too, right? Some stuff.
I would gear away from self-diagnosis and definitely seek the help of a professional. But there's definitely like red flags that you would notice on your own and say like, "Hey, something's going on."
Yeah, or if your friends or family tell you, "Hey, you really need to probably seek some help or something like that." Because I mean, sometimes we're like, because you were saying that the automated thing, right? Sometimes we're just kind of like always doing something, thinking that it's okay or thinking it's right.
We create our own normal, and if that normal tends to be overwhelmingly negative, we're probably gearing towards depression. And it's not normal, but you don't have anyone in your head to sit there and tell you like, hey, you can think a different way. And the other thing is sometimes it's hard to know close people who have gone through it because this is still something that we don't talk about
I feel like
readily.
Not until this year mental health has been like a thing. Like I feel like back even 2019 when I was in
We're still pushing, man. We're still pushing.
Yeah, I feel like
it's
we were
coming
just,
through.
Yeah, we were just kind of drinking our pains away before. A lot of times, a lot of my friends.
Maladaptive coping skill.
I feel like I've been like most of my friends like growing up, even in high school or college, like they would drink or do something to get rid of like the pain. And all that. So,
And the thing is,
you can't
guys,
do it like that. I've literally had to like drag my friend like from like literally pass out on a bench. Even like the cops coming because like he's like in literally the EMT, everything like that. Like, and I had to make sure he got home because he was literally constantly doing it every single time, just going out there getting drunk as hell.
Well, because what happens when you use behaviors like that is you reduce your emotional tolerance, which is basically like your ability to sit with your feelings. And what I'm here to tell you guys today is your feelings on their own are not dangerous things. It's the judgments that we have about having those feelings, which come from societal expectations.
Yeah, it's okay to not be okay. But it's okay. But what's important to understand is like go through your feelings, but also realize that you can do something about it.
Absolutely.
Not just sit there
Absolutely.
let
It
take
is
you.
okay to not be okay. And asking for help is an awesome option in times like that.
Yes. So, thank you. Please help us more. So.
I'm here, whatever you need.
Yes. Mother Rachel, help us.
It's me. Yes,
Therapist Rachael Torony, everybody.
Yes, seriously. Like I think this was amazing. No, I feel like
this was a good session.
And
thanks,
I love like
guys.
all the stories and everything that we've been like really like kind of going through and everything that like I commend you for even like going out there like for the protests. Like that's amazing. That even with all the stuff that you went through too, like that you're out there and like the fact that you went through a food disorder yourself and now you're helping kids who are going through that stuff too. Like that's amazing that you're literally turning it all around and like I love that so much. So Yeah, and like even like for me, like going through testicular cancer, and now I wanted to help people who
Look
are
at
going
all
through
of
it.
us,
So-
Yeah.
lived
Yeah, yeah.
experience.
Exactly. Live your
Yes.
truths. Live what you've gone through, and fight against it. You don't want anyone else to go against it or go deal with it either. So that's how we're going nuts. Is we're turning all our lack of a better term, our shit that we've gone through and making it,
Right.
into that fired up
Look,
fuel into the sky. So,
Making
yes.
lemons into lemonade.
Exactly. So
Yes.
yes. I love that
Beyonce
right
said
here.
it best.
Oh, yes, there you go. The queen bee right there.
Yes.
The queen bee. Yes.
Do we have any other questions or comments?
Let's take a look.
Yeah.
Let's see.
Yeah. Before we, I think we're already past 8 o'clock. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Are we past 8?
Yeah, we're past
We
8.
are.
Rachel Fitzgerald is here.
Fitzgerald, Rachel.
Hey, Rachel.
Hello.
Rachel is here.
Yes.
We've also
Your
got
name.
Yes.
Leah D says she loves you guys.
We love you too.
Yes, we love everyone that tunes in to our live stream or that doesn't tune into our live stream. To be
Yeah.
honest, our love isn't contingent upon participation or.
Yeah, it shouldn't
No,
be
I'm serious. I
conditional,
feel like
so,
that
yeah.
needs to be said sometimes because it's not like
Mm-hmm.
we're not here like, oh, you got to follow us.
Yeah.
Or like, you know what I mean? Whatever it is. Like, we're just here and we're obviously taking our time and our resources and everything. We're just putting this out because we know there's good people out there that need
Seriously.
to hear stuff like this. So
Absolutely.
so that's why we're here. That is exactly why we're
sharing
here.
the love.
We're sharing it all. It's all to be shared.
That's what we're doing here. We're going nuts here on the Go Nuts podcast. So,
Yes.
yes.
What do we have?
Absolutely.
What else do we have in the pipeline, you guys, as far as future podcasts that we can kind of plug right now? I know we have some good ones lined up. What do we? What do we got? Well, I know right now.
A fashion one before I remember you
There
mentioned it.
was a
Yeah.
fashion one that we were going to do. That one is still
Yeah.
sort of pending at this moment.
Yeah.
But I can see us doing some business stuff going forward. I have some friends who are business
Oh,
women
okay. There you go. Yeah, nice. Yeah.
who
yeah.
can talk about just sort of getting back in the game as far as career wise, making the most of your time indoors, and just overall just some business tips,
Career building and all that.
Yeah, career
Okay,
building
nice, yeah.
tips for COVID-19 and
Yeah.
beyond.
There you go. So
Yep.
I
That'll
think we
be
did some
exciting.
like some drinks one, like someone who makes mixed drinks, right? You remember you talked to the
Yeah.
Austin's friend.
Bartender.
Yeah,
bartending.
we've actually got we've got a couple things lined up. Austin is a very very well connected guy. We're certainly glad we have him on board
Yes.
here
Yeah,
at
Austin
Saving
Reed,
Up.
He's Reed Racing. He's the
Reed
last guy
Racing.
that
If
helped
anybody
us
wants to
in
go
our
check him out,
fundraising
he's
last year, so,
Cool.
He's a race car driver, but yes, we linked up with his friend Emma over a phone call the other night, and we set up. I think we're gonna tie Keith in.
Yeah.
That's Queen City Keith. We're
Yeah,
gonna
it's the
tie
Prince
him.
of Queen City right there.
That
Yeah,
is
you
the
don't-
Prince
yeah,
of Queen
yeah.
City.
I've
He's
heard
gonna
of
jump
him.
in here,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
what she does is basically it's called Ship Me Style. She's on Instagram at that same handle, and she basically you kind of send her some pictures. I guess I've never done it. I'm excited to meet her and kind of see the process. But you basically is like, hey, here's my closet. Here's what I got to work with, and she's gonna be like, all right, no, yes, and then I'd
okay.
recommend you buy some of this stuff here.
I got you.
So it's kind of it's like she's kind of curating pieces specific for individuals, and we're gonna have her raid Keith's closet, and then maybe she can take turns kind of raiding, some other people.
I'm
Yeah,
getting extreme
yeah.
home makeover vibes.
Yes.
Uh-huh.
yes.
Yes.
Extreme makeover
Let's see you with the
vibes.
new look right here. Look,
Yes.
yeah, it's got you. Yes.
Yes,
If you'd like to
before
join us, get
and
some fashion
after.
tips too. So,
Oh, we're looking
Yeah.
for some of those. That's
Yes.
not my area.
Oh, please, Rachel. You look good.
Oh, it's
Thank
called
you.
athleisure. No, I was kidding.
That is
Yeah.
that is where I live.
There you go.
Athleisure, yes.
Well, you look wonderful. You look
Yes.
after athleisure. You
Hold
look
it
wonderful.
together for you guys
Thank you.
today.
Well,
Thank
we
you. Yes.
appreciate that.
Yes. I think this is amazing here, honestly.
Yeah,
So,
this was a good episode. I'm really,
Yes.
I'm feeling it.
I feel
feeling
blessed.
it.
I feel blessed. I feel blessed.
Yes.
Blessed. yes. I think that's basically everything. Is there anything else that we wanted to go for? Or, yeah?
Not particularly. Mm-mm. I
Okay.
think we covered a lot. I think we
Yes.
really channeled what the message we're trying to get out there to people.
Yeah.
I think we really tapped into it.
So there you go. And then
Yeah.
we're gonna keep saving all those nuts. But before we leave though, so as you're a food disorder therapist, I know you're trying to make some new steps in your career now too, Rachel. Like what's next for you, even in this times of quarantine?
Thank you for
Yes,
asking.
yes.
Well, I've just been toying with the idea of creating a virtual private practice once I finish up my licensure in January.
Yeah.
So
When you drop the A.
Innovative.
when I drop that A,
Yeah.
yes.
That's really innovative. I like that.
I'm hopeful. We'll see.
Yeah.
Still baby steps right now.
Yeah,
Taking our time with it, but
Well, you
here's
know what?
hoping.
You've got 2 clients right here.
Yes,
Oh,
exactly. Yeah,
super
yeah.
unethical. Can't do it, but thanks for the sentiment.
Well, I tried.
Come on.
Super appreciate it.
That's why we got you in the first place. We need some help. Maybe
I
you get
can
a third
refer
one.
you to some very qualified therapists.
So we have to be referred. Is that what you're saying?
No, you don't have to be referred.
Yeah.
You just wouldn't be able to see me.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Okay.
Yes. So I can give you some
Oh, is it because
resources.
we know each other like this, like
Yes,
mutually? Oh,
because
okay.
no
I get
dual
it.
relationships
Oh,
in therapy.
okay. I
friends.
get it
Rule
now. I
number
get it.
1.
I get it.
Gotcha.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. So, well, wait, I'll see you later. Maybe in 10 years. Then I know. Does that work then? So.
Unfortunately, social work doesn't have a statute of limitations, so
okay,
it's a
okay,
forever
yes.
kind of thing, man.
Yeah.
Oh, it's forever. Okay. Well, either way, but I hope you do refer us to someone really great too.
I
So
will do
maybe
that.
even if Greg would like to get some too. So
Yeah, I
so-
got you guys.
Look, Greg needs somebody who is willing to deal with the strong analytic tendencies. So if there's like a flavor of a therapist for people who have traditionally been very, I don't mean like repulsive in like a disgust. I mean like in a magnetic repulsive kind of way. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
like a just like at
Like
the
it-
core, it's like and it's not an unwillingness to open. It's like like what we were talking about before, like these kind of passed down things. Like your dad would be like, "All right, just suck it up," or you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, whatever.
Just
My dad's
pray and
birthday
go to
today. I
sleep.
shout out my dad. He didn't tell me to just suck it up or whatever. But like.
Yeah.
The talks of like the mental health, it was always like, oh, that's a problem versus something that everybody else should be kind of doing.
Yeah.
Right. It's definitely it's always one of those like last resort kind of activities versus like maybe a first thought. Maybe you should go try to figure that kind of stuff out, and certainly not offering up advice to other people before you have it all figured out. That's my piece. That's it. Guys, I think that's going to wrap it up for us.
Yeah.
We are
Yes.
coming up on an hour here on YouTube, so I don't know if it's like Instagram and it's going to cut us
Live will
off.
probably cut
Yeah.
out soon,
Instagram
but-
Live's probably already cut out. But I want to say that we did get up to YouTube. So we are excited to
Awesome.
see how our first kind of rendition of the whole live shebang over
It'll be on
here.
Made in
Yeah.
Charlotte
I've been having a
Media's
great
YouTube
time
right
cutting
now,
around
so-
on all these buttons
No,
right
no,
here. I don't
no,
know where
no,
here.
no,
Over there looking like a DJ.
What is happening right now?
so
Oh my
great.
gosh, it's so much fun.
Before we'll close out, does anyone else have any good like words to say for from everything that we talked about today? I know live your truth. That's a good one.
Self-care is not selfish.
Yes, self-care is
Feel what you feel.
feel what you feel.
Yes,
It's
feel
okay to
those
not
feelings.
be okay. Yeah, and then just
Everything doesn't have to add up.
Yeah.
It only
It doesn't,
adds up.
yeah.
I heard somebody say it only adds up if you sit there and actually add it all up. Otherwise, it just kind of.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, sometimes it's okay to just like kind of just let it go, but then like all of a sudden just figure out, all right, try to just find a solution for everything. So and that's how we go nuts here on the Go Nuts podcast.
But this will wrap it up.
Yes, thank you, Anders.
Yes.
Thank you, Rachel.
Bye,
Thank
guys.
you,
Thank
everybody,
so
for
much
listening.
having
Thank
me.
you,
Yes,
Rachel.
of course, and thank
This
you,
was-
Greg.
Thank you guys for
See you
having
guys.
me.
Yes.
Absolute pleasure.
Go nuts on the Go Nuts podcast.
We'll
Yes.
see you guys next time.
Yes.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.